is there different things that you should be looking for, in terms of, do you go and look for Google reviews or recommendations, or does your estate agent maybe have a recommendation on who to speak to, and mortgage advisors or solicitors, kind of, for someone that maybe doesn't know, or their family maybe doesn't have a solicitor specifically, who do you kind of gauge off that?
Well, I think the best way to describe it is, this is how I do business with people, and I'll compare it with how a lot of people do it. So a lot of people who don't have knowledge, immediately what they'll do is they'll go out and they'll assume that, if you pick a solicitor, they all know. So it's the same as any other industry. For instance, recently I needed an electrician to do something for me, and it was quite a complex job, and I've spoken to 2 or 3, and I could easily just say, what is the price? Give me your price and I'll choose the cheapest one.
Yeah.
And just assume, well, they're all electricians, so they're all going to know the job. But the problem is, that mightn't be the case. There's a couple other things I want to bear in mind. Is, how do I get on with that person? Is that person able to take my phone call? Did that tradesman explain it to me in a way that I understood it? Did I feel as if he was just waffling or getting round the scenario, or trying to hook me in? And it's really more about a rapport.
Yeah.
And I want to know that I'm working with somebody that I can lift the phone to, that is going to explain it, is going to be helpful, is going to get it sorted out for me. And there's a lot of people just make that mistake in picking the cheapest one. Another thing is recommendations. It can be quite difficult to go with recommendations. Yes, it's definitely a good help. Certainly, if you're staying in a hotel, and you always check the recommendations. But to go one step further on the recommendations is basically find out what was the recommendation, because what might be suitable for one person may not be for another. So for instance, in the legal game, if you get a recommendation maybe from your granny, and your granny is more than likely maybe have chosen a solicitor who is somebody of a similar age or maturity, and obviously they've gelled, and they're on a wavelength that is the same. Is that going to be the same rapport from your granny as a first time buyer? I'm not saying age has anything to do with it, but I'm just saying it's all about that connection and that rapport. The main thing is just probably, as I said, the rapport, the connection. So that the more mature person, in my experience, is the more mature person likes the more face to face, the one-to-one, coming in to see you, and the telephone communication, and they want a real connection. Whereas what we find is, maybe with the younger generation, they haven't time for that rapport, they haven't time for the one-to-one, they just want it done quickly, they want
the job done.
They want the job done. They treat like maybe an email as like a text message. They want an answer instantly.
Yeah.
So that's the big difference.